evening and welcome once again to Daybreak Africa from our studio in the state, the sunshine state of the nation. It's a beautiful morning. My name is Ikhonede Joshua Yadeji.
And hi, I'm Afolashayo Hamzat. Welcome on Daybreak Africa today. How you doing, Joshua?
Kind of fine. Alright, welcome back to the show. Just join us, it's still Daybreak Africa, and yes, it's time to go straight to our discussions for today. One of the most topical issues right now in Nigeria is a place of security. Many have talked about the fact that security is one of the most challenging things we have in the country right now. Looking at what is happening in the northeast, the northwest, the north central especially, being the hub of ethnic violence as well as farmer-herder clashes and issues of armed herdsmen too as well. Yes, the southern part also has their own fair share of insecurities. Last week, the Northern Governors Forum wrote to the Senate and demanded for considerations on the call for state policing, which many see as a solution to the whole issue that has to do with, insecurities. Though when we talk about state policing, is one of the most topical issues in Nigeria right now. Looking at Nigeria's current security architecture and the likes, and looking at the whole architecture, when if state policing is actually affirmed in this country, we know vividly well that we don't have financially autonomous state legislature, financially autonomous state judiciary. Neither is, though the local government has a bit an autonomy as we speak, but is not yet fully established to that very large extent. So it's a very topical issue which we have to look at, talking about the fears, what advantages can have to us, what disadvantages it can have to us. And to discuss with us today, actually, we have with us our public affairs analyst, is also a political analyst in the studio with us. Ladies and gentlemen, in the studio with us is none other person but Shina Daniels, popularly known as Kalakuta. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. I think I've been hearing that name, but I'm pleased to meet you finally.
Pleasure's all mine.
Welcome to the show.
The pleasure is ours too as well.
The pleasure is mine because we have something in common.
Oh wow.
Some people should not talk, please.
Thank you.
I've seen your questions, but this one is off the hook actually.
It's interesting.
I'm going to make sure that the next time you meet me, even if it's the one that is recommended for fashion, I'll get it. Wow. So nobody can threaten me on this set. But now let's look at the bit from this angle. Now we're having security issues in the country. We've seen how tumultuous the whole issue has been, and now you've seen people. Before it used to be the citizens calling for state policing. Now we've seen governors like the Northern Governors Forum talk about state policing. Though we've seen what happened with the Southern governors, especially the ones in the Southwest, when they all came together to bring up Amotekun under the then leadership of late Rotimi Akeredolu. But what do you see with this issue of state policing? Do you think state policing is ripe for Nigeria at this particular time?
Well, first, I would like to acknowledge the impact of His Excellency, the former governor of Ondo State, the late Akeredolu, of blessed memory. I feel he was so courageous in his life to have been able to summon up that mindset, the positive mindset of establishing state security. He championed the cause in his lifetime. So, but of course, state policing, I see from Maketi's idea and in relation to the security threats we have all across the country, I feel the best thing we needed to do right now is just to embrace, implement, and ensure it works. Because state policing is just a transformative opportunity for us to address Nigerian security system. Yeah, so without that, I don't think anything can happen, because we cannot, we don't just have a choice rather than going into state policing. Because it is when you decentralize security system to states and even local, that is when we can have perfect security architecture, unlike every other foreign or Western world. Just like Canada and all that, you see them different categories of people, getting involved in state policing and all that. So I feel it's also a mindset that tells a man that you have to be responsible for your own self-security, your welfare. Yeah. So it spurs us into responsibility. So if, take for instance, the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, cannot be in Abuja and be policing on those. It's not possible. You can't just do it. Even in fact, when you consider the citizen now these days, when they go to the position, they said, police is your friend, police is your friend. But yet, are we sure of this statement? Can we confirm this statement from the citizens? If indeed, police are the friends of the citizens. No, the citizens have actually lost some certain level of trust
in the police sector.
Yes. So hence, we need state policing.
Okay, let me come in from the fact that a lot of people, the citizens, let me say Nigerians as a whole, they've lost the trust in the police force. If police, state policing should happen tomorrow, do you think this trust will be regained?
Yes. Yes.
What do you think
What
the
is the
police?
factors that will make this?
What do you think they'll do differently to make people believe them again, or let me say to make citizens trust them again?
Well, yes. Take for instance, I feel the problem with federal policing is because they have every responsibilities beyond their strength. So it affects the reasoning, it affects their action. Yeah, I wouldn't want to say in the negative way, because no, they are trying their best, but they have challenges too. So, but I feel if we decentralize power now, that citizens can now have, take for instance, state police, NPF, do your own. Amotekun now, we want to engage you, do your own. The works of Amotekun is quite different from the works of the federal police. So, yeah, so it will be more, the security pressure will be more relaxed from the federal police. So they can barely come up to say, oh, they want, unlike their activities now, they can just go out for raiding and blah, 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 and all that. But in a situation whereby the security system of the country or the nation or the state is balanced, they are in order. Where Amotekun is working, the NPF is working, every other security parameter, they are all working, things are going fine. You see, the citizen will be relaxed. First, they will earn the trust in doing their daily engagements. And as well, it will be very, very difficult for any policeman to say he or she wants to harass a citizen. It's not going to happen, because then you can easily assess every other forces expressing your intent. So take for instance, somebody who is holding you for probably the driver's license, who is trying to address all that, has been given to somebody else who is in that particular jurisdiction, who has that authority and power to do. Policemen now, they just do the works of VIO, they do the works of
All in one.
yes. That is why citizens cannot trust them.
Because they've seen them manifest themselves in actual places where they're not supposed to be.
So, but if this power are taken from them to other forces that the Nigerian security system have really approved, I guess the citizens have no reason to even be afraid of policemen. So the policemen will be so polite to do their jobs.
Okay, something happened of recent whereby we read the news in the studio here that happened between the Amotekun and the policemen, whereby they went to apprehend someone who stole from a church, but then they became the actors who was dramatizing for the person. The person just sat down and was there watching movie, and what happened was, we caught this man. I don't know what was on their mind, why they had to start fighting each other.
Okay.
Whereby the person that was caught was there, sitting down and watching the whole movie and all. But to my own knowledge, what I felt, what I resulted to was probably we want to take the glory. When the news will come out, let it be that it is the Amotekun that apprehended this person, or when the news come out, it should be the police that. I don't know, probably that was what happened. So now coming down to state policing, do you think something of such might not or will not happen? Whereby I'll be like, oh, I'm a police from Osun State, but then we're a police from Ekiti State, and probably this person did something bad, even though it happened in Ekiti, but I'm the one from Osun. I was the one who was there, and I stopped him. At the end of the day, I want to be the one to take the glory. Do you think something of such will not happen when the state policing of a thing comes to light?
Okay, well, I feel the discrepancy in that experience is the fact that there were no legal education that can actually distinguish the responsibility of the federal police and the state police. So now, I feel if state police had been in place before now, there was no reason for Amotekun to engage a federal police because they caught
A criminal.
a criminal. If they had known within themselves to have measured their actions and all that, they would have been able, from their conscience, they realize they are working together for the same objective.
But we all know they are working together for the same objective. But then I think there is a different orientation. Each of them have, I don't know, but probably the way they act it out.
Yeah.
So to me, it seems as if a whole lot of people will even say that you know what is right. But then it is unfortunate that most of them will not even do what is right. They know in their mind that this thing we are doing is wrong, but then they still want to go ahead with it.
Yes, this is the point. If we have witnessed the event of state police come into place, once, you know, I mentioned decentralization of power. That goes along with the education, the orientation to put them into place. So everyone would have known their boundary, their constitutional boundaries, and what they are expected to do. So it won't be as if, even if I arrest a criminal, my job as an Amotekun is to just pick him, probably, and hand him or her over to the federal police so that they can take the case from there. Yeah, the job of the police is to bring criminals, investigate, and take them to court. But by and large, this process has been altered. Yeah, because I am also a victim. In different ways, consecutively. So now, it's just that we are proud Nigerians. So that's why we still have to embrace our country regardless of the security challenges or whatsoever that we are going across. So I'm still a Nigerian. That's my home. That's where I belong. So yeah, we have to embrace these things, but we can only appeal to our leaders to improvise. Yeah, because the first responsibility of every leader is to protect the interests and the lives of the citizen. You're not there for yourself, no, but the lives and the welfare of the people. So if you cannot secure them under your nose, banditry, killing, blah blah blah, all that, no, it's not all right. But I feel the present leader that we have, I feel I must tell it to you that is doing his best. That's a person of PBAT. One way or the other, he's trying his best. Yes, because if a leader is capable of just trying to give you what you want, trying to do the necessary, I feel there's no reason for us to slow down in our actions to bring security threat into...
Are you trying to say a leader is not supposed to give the citizens what they want?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
The first responsibility of a leader is the welfare, is to look after the welfare of the citizen. And under the welfare of the citizens, security is one of those things. Because if they're not there, you can't lead them. So it is very, very essential.
Okay, let's look at it from this perspective, because I've been looking at a lot of things. Before we even came to the show, I was communicating with someone recently, and we were talking about this whole issue of state police, because when the news first got to me about the meetings the northern governors were having, and he said something. He said, you know, sometimes the only reason why he loves the state policing issue is the fact that most of the time, if you look at the current security architecture, like you said, Egbetokun can be everywhere. But then Egbetokun not being everywhere, he also has commissioners. Every state has their police commissioners, the police force, their buildings and all that. But the thing is, many of them are not from that particular state. And because they are not from that particular state, they don't know the architecture of the whole place. So just imagine you are bringing me to somewhere I don't know anything about. I just have to start knowing the whole nooks and the crannies, knowing the language, knowing what they and what they don't. But instead, if you bring someone from within them, you understand, it's easier. They can easily relate with the person. You know the person's father's house, they know everything. So anything that happens, we change it to each other. But then looking at it at that particular time, we began to screen and look at some things. The place of sabotage by the state governors, which happens to be the main issue that the presidency is still battling against. No states, no financially autonomous states judiciary, no financially autonomous states legislature. Don't you think if we now have state police without these two bodies, the state governor becomes an emperor?
Well, I would want to say that the case of autonomy, it's a very different language from what we have here. Yeah. State policing is just the major language that we have to hear. They are the people within the state that can protect themselves. We have no choice. We have no choice. So we can only encourage the governors, because the only thing I notice in our system is that as much as the president is trying his best, let me re-emphasize on that, the governors must be able to take responsibilities from there.
Yeah, everybody knows that. The governors needs to take responsibilities.
Yeah. So if we have unnecessary headache, unnecessary concern from a particular angle or region of this country, then the governor of that particular place must be responsible for that particular problem. So there are so many things I might not be able to just hit the nail by the head, because diplomacy, fine, either we like it or not, it is necessary in life. So, but if the president, the only thing I see that gives me confidence with the president is that the first quarter of the first year he got into office, at least I learned he released almost 5 billion naira
to governors. More money than they ever got in their history.
He released trucks of grains to them.
Even security votes too as well.
Even security votes, multiple, coming into states, and yet we have headache. So, we all know where the problem lies. So, Tinubu must be excused from the problem of this country, president. But however,
he's the president, he can't be excused.
Yes. What I'm saying is,
he begged for the job. Actually.
Yes.
He applied for the job.
Yes, this is what I'm saying now. I mean that if other persons who are in line of that authority are responsibly reasonable, they should be able to come up to service. It's not about the money, it's not about the funding. No, but the lives of the citizen is very, very essential. Take for instance, I watched a video lately. I saw a president, probably Congo, or one of these countries that has flood challenge and all that. I saw the president, a young, active man going inside a water that is almost of this capacity. Dirty water moving around, even with his
suits and all that.
It was not even, it was on jeans and
those kind of political actually, though.
No, it's not. If it were to be a political issue, you would have seen from his content, he would find it difficult entering
such modules.
But I think when it comes to politics, they can do anything.
The video I saw, he has the capacity to designate the minister of whatsoever to do that for him. But for a leader to have gone to that level, he's responsible. He's not hiding. He's feeling what he felt. So, but it's so bad that majority of our leaders here are not totally considerate. That's the concern we have.
Okay, still on this state policing of a thing, there's been a whole lot of talks out there where a lot of people were saying now it is the northern governors that are coming out to say, okay, we need state policing and all. A lot of people are saying governors might use this to their own advantage. What's your take on it?
Well, northern governors, or perhaps Nigerian governors from, let's say,
let's
say Nigerian
governors from, yeah. General.
If by chances we have the opportunity of readjusting our constitution as to able to reduce some certain level of strength given to that category of people, I feel the system will be easier to enjoy the benefits and the good life either for them from democracy or the government. It would be able to go to the grassroots directly. The only bridge, the only stopover from having the good life that the country have in place for us is the Governors Forum, Nigerian Governors Forum. So if that particular set of people are removed from the chain, you see that governance will be easy. Yes, and we won't have problems. Nigerian Governors Forum in the northern environment, we might not have confirmatory statement to say they do this, they don't do this. They are closer to banditry and all that and all that. So many things are happening there, which are even under their nose. So I feel if they have the good conscience of a normal human being, then I feel they should be responsible for certain things to overcome this threat and challenges we are having or we are facing as a citizen. It's too bad. It's not even hearable. It's not healthy that Nigeria, as far as we are called the giant of Africa, we have all the resources, everything needed, human resources. If state police is brought into place, you are giving people employment. You are reducing certain problems. But I feel this is the level of selfishness majority of our leaders are having. That's where we are having problems.
I think that selfishness is one of the things that has made it quite
Not just selfishness,
difficult.
selfishness and greed. Greed, yeah, greed. That's the word. Greed, not selfishness. If you are selfish, you might actually be reasonable to some extent.
To some extent, yeah.
Yeah, if you are selfish. But if you are greedy, you don't care if someone dies.
Just concerned about yourself.
Not yourself. You want to take this, you want to take that, you want to take all. Even when you take all, you still want more. Even when you want more, you still want. So great. And whereas when we die,
We can't do it all.
nobody is going with all these things.
We can't do it with any.
Foolishness.
Because at the end of the day, even if you take the earning, at the end of the day, you still use the toilet, so definitely. But then actually, I want to take us back a bit on this discussion, but I think let's take a short break first. Then after the break, we'll just come back and discuss a bit, because honestly, a lot of things actually are factors to be considered with those whole things. But then let's first go on a short break. Let's take Go Start. After Go Start, we come back here and we'll continue with our discussion. It's getting a bit interesting in this angle. I think I like when you stopped on the fact that greed somehow is one of the biggest problems we're having, especially when it comes to the Governors Forum of Nigeria. But then let's just take a short break. Let's enjoy Go Start. After Go Start, we'll come back to our discussion. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Welcome back. That was Go Start. If you've been procrastinating about that business, stop procrastinating today and start a business, because when you own a business, then you will be the real Odogu. If you're just joining us, this is Daybreak Africa on KAFTAN television, and we'll be talking about how the northern governors have spoken out and calling for state policing. Do sit down and enjoy the program. So the question I want to ask, referring to what you said earlier concerning job opportunity when it comes to this state policing of a thing, a lot of people were saying if the government wants the citizens to have trust in this whole state policing of a thing, that they will prefer if new people were being recruited into the police force before the old state policing comes up, rather than bringing people from, you know, the normal, or let me say the old force we have. What's your take on it? Do you think when we are trying to consider state policing, it should be a new set of recruits?
Well, be it the new set of recruits, be it a normal citizen, Nigerian citizen, we all have police experience.
Really?
How?
How do you say so?
Take for instance, when you get to the station now,
Okay.
you know, nobody will tell you the procedures that happens in the station. Do you understand what I mean?
No, I don't.
I mean, take for instance, you have a case or probably somebody closest to you,
Okay.
and then when you get to the police station, nobody is going to teach you those procedures to get your brother or your sister or your close person out who is a victim from that particular net. I mean, when they tell you bail is free, when you get there, you have better explanation.
Well, no.
Yeah.
That bail is free.
Yeah. So every
Bail is free, okay?
yeah, every citizen of this country understands that bail is free.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Bail is free.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now when you get to the police station, we are all familiar with the system. Nobody is, yes.
But automatically,
Yes.
we
So
get there.
if you bring new persons into the state policing, it's still the same thing.
Everybody knows already the automatic.
Yes. We are all
Modus
policing
operandi.
ourselves one way or the other.
But we are still complaining of that system. That's where my problem comes into play.
The system is, you know what? When there are no laws, there are no crime. Yeah. Now, I feel the only thing that is needed in our system is we have people. Not all of them are bad eggs.
Very true.
Yeah.
I have many
We
friends.
have people who are diligent and committed to their work and even have respect for what they do. So, but we only need a leader who has a foresight, who is dynamic and civilized and understand when to act and apply diplomacy and, you know, getting things into effectiveness. Yeah, when we have that particular leader, it's just a matter of giving instructions. Now, when you give instructions, set a goal, you have your plan B working alongside fulfillment and actualization of that particular plan A. Do you get what I mean? What I mean is, once you have a plan A, okay, policemen, now, this is what we begin to do in the morning. This is what we do in the afternoon. This is what, take for instance, we go for patrol in the morning, come back to also place, give
Details.
you give your details of what your experience is all about. Another set of people in the afternoon, you know, things like that and all of that. Now, we have a lead who is leading that particular Ishish troop. A lead who is trusting. You know, if it happens across Ishish quorum units of that particular state policing and all that, they will have refreshed mindset. Things will be done differently.
But do you think it won't turn to the word if you can't beat them, join them?
No, not at all. There is a law. So that's why I say when there are no laws, if there is,
But even now there are laws.
yes,
Let's find the many laws, multiple laws in the actual sense, not just even one
let
law.
me tell you one truth now. If Tinubu, take for instance, he had the opportunity of, by chance, we know the second term is so sure for him.
We don't know yet.
Yeah,
Let's leave it
I
at
am
that.
telling you.
I don't know, you might know what you don't know.
Yeah,
That one
you
is-
know why I'm telling you? Because even if you are not a party person,
Okay.
from incidents you see governors of Abga, governors from PDP, all that migrating, you know, at a very high rate. Even some people with
Anything can still happen. 2 years,
That's
2
what-
years,
that- that's what I was-
2036 is
I was
crucial.
almost saying.
Yeah, it's
If
crucial.
anyone tells you that anything can still happen, then that person is imposing delusion upon himself
Well, let's
intentionally.
Let's see.
Let me
We'll
tell
see.
you.
We'll see to them.
Now, if anybody tells you that, tell that person to understand what the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria means
Okay.
before he goes buying tickets, start campaigning and doing all that everywhere. So,
Well,
just to be
well.
on the safer
Let's
side.
wait and see.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, what I'm saying is, if we have a leader who is so agile and reasonable and knows what he's doing, Tinubu knows what he's doing. That's what I'm trying to say. If we have a leader who knows what he's doing and he has instructed, oh yeah, I need feedbacks. 7 a.m. in the morning, feedback from Ondo State. 7 a.m. in the morning, feedback from Rivers, Bayelsa, and all that, and every other places. You know, the commissioner will be very, very effective. The DPOs across, you know, they will be very, very effective. And the inspectors, probably, according to their ranks, everybody will be serious getting.
But the effectiveness is not extremely manifesting.
because-
Looking at the amount of insecurities we are having currently, it's alarming.
Yes, it is because there were no state policing. They've not decentralized
The police
power.
force. So you feel that the centralization of the police force is
That's
the
the
biggest
problem.
issue it has.
That's why I use that proverb that Ogbetekun in Abuja cannot do all that. Even the policemen now, there are so many things that are going to that the government needs to put in place. The welfare of the policemen,
Okay, I was going to talk about that actually.
that's the first thing. If the policemen have good salaries, majority of them will be comfortable. So some few who tends to be dirty will find it difficult going about their dirty businesses in the police sector.
Well, do you think that's possible in the Nigerian setting? Because why I'm also saying this is, me, I have mentalities. I think to a very large extent, I have a bit of authority when it comes to human nature, psychology, and all that. To a very large extent, I know one truth. Like the psychologists make use of the preacher of the Ecclesiastes to talk about it. They will say a lover of silver can never be satisfied with silver. Neither will a lover of gold will ever be satisfied with gold. So definitely, if a man loves money, actually, even if you increase the salary to 1.5 million, because of in his mind he wants to buy Benz as fast as possible. He will still, and whenever corruption becomes an habit, like they said, because of punishments are not emitted, immediately, deviant behaviors become the order of the day. The truth is, to a very large extent, we all know. Okay, let's just say it the way it is. Though the centralization of the police force to me is not even a problem. the only part of the problem is that many times the transfers, from my own perspective, is what the problem comes in, because people that already actually have good knowledge of those places are the ones in charge of their security architecture. And we've seen state police, state commissioners that have argued with state governors before in this issue of security. But the thing there is just that, aside from that issue of the centralization, we have too many bad eggs. We have good eggs, but we have too many bad eggs already. And whereas even some of these good eggs have become security protocols to VIPs and all that. So we are in a dire situation automatically. So I think that's why we are all discussing the state police here. So I understand your perspective talking about the centralization. So I'm just trying to just say from my own end that I don't feel the issue of the welfareism is the problem. Under Buhari's tenure, their salaries were increased. Even in Tinubu's tenures, we even have, this time around, we even have people that are even looking towards police welfare and all that. And even though some welfareism is taken care of to an extent, the corruption still persists. So we are police that are friends.
Let me use this medium to tell the country now. I mean, I'm addressing the president indirectly one way or the other. The security challenge we have in this country is bigger than giving a policeman 70,000 naira to maintain his life. It's not possible. It needs more marginal ways to make more money to be able to maintain his welfare. It is not possible. If you give a policeman, probably a recruit now, 150,000 as the minimum wage, let me tell you, there is a very wide margin from 70,000 to
150 is huge money actually.
Average Nigerian will be comfortable with 150,000 naira monthly if prices of things are normal.
The prices of things are normal, 150,000.
Let me say this. I'm saying this, for the leaders of our country to understand that these are the factors they needed in addressing security challenges, in case they are not thinking in that direction. Now, we cannot assume that they know everything.
Definitely they can know everything.
Now, if the prices of things are reduced to normal, bearable
minimum
price, minimum, and the policemen are hanging around probably the lowest cadre, 150,000 naira, for instance, with the present situation and every other thing. Do you know that the laws that will be made from the federal will be actualized if it is aimed towards a particular objective of cleansing the police or reformation in the system? It will be achieved because they'll be comfortable. Because if you see, policemen are meant to obey laws. That's why you see that
keep laws
and maintain laws. That's why you see that when you see a corporal sees an inspector, he has to rise and obey. When you see an inspector see a DPO or commissioner, he has to rise.
Have the option.
So once the law is passed and the system is okay with their welfare is the first thing. You have to pay soldier more for them to be for somebody holding gun defending you.
You should pay more.
You should pay more.
Yeah, we can't deny that actually.
You should pay more.
Let me ask this question. I'm sorry to cut you actually. Let me ask this question because we are all asked it based on current economic situations of the country.
Okay.
Do you think, even down to the state policing, do you think the governors have the financial capacity to foot the bill of the state police? Now, I know I'm asking this question. We know that despite the fact that some states are collecting way more money from the federal government, and so, some of them don't even have sizable IGRs, internally generated revenue. What they base their head on, if the Abuja does not do full, they won't collect money, they won't even pay salaries. Some of them, despite what Abuja is giving, they are still not paying salaries and they are spending way above their means. So do you think the 36 states we have in the country currently have the capacity to fund a proper state police?
You see, Nigeria is a blessed nation. Do we agree to this fact?
Very fact, but I'm a believer in that.
Then the only problem we have as a nation is rationality of the human resources and exploring them. Our leaders, majority of our leaders, don't have foresight. The issue of greed cannot be
overemphasized
or ignored. you see, the resources that comes to every state must be capable of solving the problem of that particular state monthly. Nobody says you should focus on the problem of the month for a whole year or for 4 years. No. That's why you receive monthly federal allocation, right?
And it never misses. It's always coming.
So why is it not stopping or solving the problems of the month, of the state monthly? So you want to tell me because other sector needs money, education, blah 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 blah, and yet bring out the results of students writing WAEC, and yet you are funding money in education. It's not bringing out good results. You are funding money somewhere else. You are not heading towards good results. Okay, fine. You want to do infrastructure. Keep doing infrastructure now. Leave security. Let's see how people have good lives. Even you yourself as a governor.
You are not safe.
So the problem with our leaders is we misappropriate our priorities. State politics, if they have that vision, that is very, very essential, the money will be there. It is easy. It is division, right? This money are into proportions, right? So billionaire for security, so billionaire for this and that. Yes, it should not be difficult.
That means they don't see it much as a priority.
Yes, that's where we are heading to. And the governors are not responsible, so to say. Yes. If they are responsible leaders, they will know that security must be their priority. How would a governor leading a group of people and something is happening somewhere around a local government, people are dying, losing lives and all that? No, now. No.
And the governors, some of them came out to say we need help.
No, it's bad. These things are so bad. Even in this country, in fact, regardless of how Tinubu is trying, I still blame him.
Why won't you?
Yeah, I'm not blaming him because I feel he's not capable. I'm blaming him because I feel, sir, some things are happening and you are applying diplomacy. No.
So you feel Tinubu should make use of, okay, let me ask a question. We saw what happened with River State. We saw the emergency rule. Now we are seeing what's happening in Plateau State. Even the governor even came out one time to say in the last 10 years, the state has been experiencing this much violence. And we know the 10 years is talking about probably is the 10 years because of APC has used exactly 10 years in power. Now I'm not saying he's trying to, talk about the fact that APC is to blame for the whole problem they are experiencing, but we know very well that the governor actually is from the People's Democratic Party, so there is a possibility that he might be, we are trying to look into that line. And we have Benue State and some other few states in the northern part especially experiencing this much violence. Do you think like River State, you should have called for a state of emergency in those states as well, just like he did with Fubara? Just, do away with the democratic system, move on with the military to just ensure the security in those states?
You see, the case of Fubara, I don't know how it's going to probably have a soft landing under the law. Fubara misbehaved grossly. I'm not interested in Fumbara's business with Wike. I'm not interested in Fumbara's leadership and all that. For a governor to have ordered, supervised the demolition of the State House of Assembly, me Ogborio.
You have to speak Yoruba?
No. You see, that is the height of insanity in Nigeria democratic system. It's not done. People who gave you power, no now. So, from that state, naturally, needs a state of emergency. Yeah, because if it goes beyond that level,
tensions,
in fact,
violence.
the emergence of a state of emergency in that place is to save him and save so many things, even lives. Yes, it shows that the welfare of the people of River State is so paramount to the president.
What about those in Plateau State? What about those in Benue State? Some of their localities, local governments, have been overridden by bandits right now.
Yes, it's not safe anymore.
Yes, we cannot declare a state of emergency.
Why?
The president knows that it is the responsibility of the CSO of that particular place. That's why we have chief security officer.
And the chair is definitely the
If
government.
it's the CSO, he should be responsible. He has no reason to come up and give excuses. He campaigned, he contested, they voted for him, and he was sworn in. He receives allocation. He lives differently the way he was living before. So he should be responsible. In the house, in any, at least across the country now, across the country, government houses, at least when you check their expenditure daily, then you should know that a governor should know.
So you're saying the presidency should just fold his arms and just watch and leave it to the governor?
The presidency is updated daily, moments, as regards what happens there. So the governor should be able to do what he needs to do. It would be, at least it would receive information, it would actually, but diplomacy in governance may not actually be obvious to we citizens out there. Yeah. There will be security parameters in place trying to address that particular challenge. But it's not rapid. But it pains us that things like that, we expect very rapid response.
Prompt response.
Yes, yes.
It's concerning this whole insecurity of a thing in Nigeria as a whole, aside state policing, what other thing do you think the
Can work out.
president should do, or let me say the present administration should do to help us all? Because fine, it might be more in some areas than the other, but truth be told, I think insecurity is everywhere in Nigeria. So what do you think the present administration should do to, you know, to, let me say, for them to try more rather than the state policing, or let me say aside state policing?
Let me spill this to the air now.
Okay.
You see, if I am opportune to be the president of this nation, as of this moment, the first thing I will do is strive, ensure that the constitution is immediately readjusted or scrapped or re-amended. I don't want to use there's no amendment anyway. Yeah, reform. Let's say reformation. No, let's say a new constitution that suits the civilization. Yeah. This one we are using is just a law book. Yes, that's the truth. Now, if that is put into place, I feel that's why a president must have a good rapport, an alliance with the Senate president, to ensure that particular standard is raised. After that is done, the next thing I will do is I will announce the change of the currency overnight when nobody is prepared.
Why?
Why?
Why can't we change it? Because we will announce it overnight. Now, those stolen currencies,
Okay.
those embezzled
Currencies here. They will all come out.
they will sweat. So if nothing is addressed in that direction, we'll just be stagnant, deceiving ourselves. I don't need to die and take trillions to heaven. No. You get what I'm saying? Greed should not be in our system. It is abnormal. It is malady. It is sickness. It is a disease. Greed. Once you are filled now, a greedy man, if he's filled, you know what he's going to do next? If he sees another food, he will eat more.
That's gluttony.
Yeah. And you have pains and stress even while you are doing that. So you can't take that away from them. So the only solution to that particular problem is change the currency. Once the currency is changed overnight and they are not prepared, the ones there, the ones in the back, we know you must declare your assets. In fact, the data, Nigeria, we don't have database.
Which is very true.
Yeah.
And our borders are very porous too as well, without a database.
Those things have made our country so vulnerable and exposed to security threats. Even the money, the resources in this country are being used to suffer this country. It is the resources that are being used to sponsor banditry and all that. Yes, I feel so. Because it was difficult for the previous administration to be able to address these challenges when they have this money and security charges, that and this.
Security is even the top list on our budget.
Yes, Now, nothing happened for 8 years. I'm so sorry, Buhari is a misplacement. It's a mistake to this nation. Yes, I'm so confident of what I'm saying. Okay, his PA should come out and explain all these associated allegations against him. One Tunde, blah, blah, blah. Or what does he call his name? Yes, his stories and so many things happened in Buhari's administration. And these things are bad. You can't even talk for an administration. That's why I see that sorry, all Nigerian elites, we are illiterate. Sorry, not we, they are illiterate. The so-called professors, they are cowardice in the face of tyranny. But for somebody to say hate speech must be put into law. Hate speech, what do you mean by hate speech? In an advent to reduce freedom of speech. Somebody is coming to tell you hate speech. What do you mean by hate speech? Reduce people's right to expression, taking your rights away from citizens. And yet we were so calm, nobody is saying anything. Hate speech happened for almost 6, 7, 8 years. So Buhari was so comfortable to run the administration the way
While everything was just going hanky-panky.
You can't talk. If you talk, it is hate speech. So imagine, is that democracy? No. And he was once a military administrator, so you can't take that away from them. But now, the leader we have now is somebody who hears, listens, but is doing things according to the way he sees Nigeria. Yeah. Majority of the present politicians do not know Nigeria. They can't even tell the story of what is happening in Nigeria. So how do you expect to tackle the problems and the challenges that is associated to this country? You can't do it if you don't know. If you don't understand, abuse is inevitable. That's why Buhari got there and he messed up. If it were to be Tinubu that was there 8 years away, Nigeria will be taking a new dimension. Far from what we are experiencing. This is Kwangme.
Still talking about the state policing before we go. Let's take, for example, let me say, let's believe it's going to happen. If state policing should happen, what do you think is the role every citizen in Nigeria is supposed to play to help this new state policing?
Yes. Take for instance, sometimes I travel to one part of the north, Abuja, and on land, I was just reflecting along my journey. Now, wow, is this Nigeria? Going through the north, is this Nigeria? I concluded within my mind that a man cannot rule this country. It's too big. Yes, that's the truth. That's the first thing we need to know about our country. Nigeria is too big for somebody to rule. Yes. Let's ignore landmass now. Our diversities in culture, mindset, interests, blah, 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 every others. And we don't have one mind. That's the problem. Now, if state policing come into place, there is this quote from Sir Winston Churchill, the world Prime Minister of England, probably 1939 to 1945. Yeah, happens to be, he said, and I quote, that if everybody defends his or her home, the whole England will be defended. I guess that was the policy that the England used in defeating the Second World War during those moments. And now, take for instance, when we look at nations now, the best way to address our problems is our units. Units, right?
Units by units, instead of just grossly, unit after unit.
Units. That's why you see that everybody go to cast his votes in our units. Yeah. Our homes, home is one of the smallest units of the society that has to be addressed first. So once our homes have a sane mind, good mindsets, if everybody is ready to defend his or our homes within our units, within our quarters, there won't be security challenge anywhere. There won't be security threats.
Because everybody, every street, from the home to the street, from the street to the community, from like that,
goes like that. It would help the state policing to ensure the security architecture is safe, sound, healthy, and is harrowed towards the objective. Now, take for instance, your home is secured, sorry, your home is security. They have security orientation.
Yeah.
In your area, in my area. It will, you know, even the external threat that is coming would have had a foresight that if I have to come here, I would have to break the security perimeter in your place, break here before coming to break mine. So it is an extra challenge for security threats to come and break our homes. So if our homes are solid, well defended, then the state police will have no problem. So people who have the right mindset to security effectiveness. So everybody will be responsible for their security and their welfare. That's what we want. So that is what is very, very essential and important. That's what we need as this particular hour in this nation.
Thanks so much, Shina Daniel, for being a part of this discussion. Really appreciate every word with you. And we just hope that things change, actually. I just hope the whole issue of state police work. I still have my fears about it still because of, like you said, like we all rightly said, the state governors too they have their problems too as well. I'm not saying we are problematic, we have your problems too as well. You know, in this life sometimes when you are sent like a servant, you must play the role of a son.
Delivery,
Why so? Diplomacy.
You must have very good delivery standard here as well. But thanks so much for this. We really appreciate it. Yes, we just hope that things change as soon as possible. But then we'll keep bringing updates on all this as time goes by. It's time to go for sport. After sport, we'll come back and say our goodbyes on Daybreak Africa. So please stay with us. We'll be right back. Alright, welcome back to the show. I hope you're enjoying sport. Yes, it's time to just say our goodbyes on Daybreak Africa. Woo! What a discussion, actually. Though I'm still, like I said, it's not as if the governors are that bad, though. It's just that we have to just be honest with ourselves, truthfully, that in some areas, many of them are not actually. I think we even have more structural problems than even the state police.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the thing, if we will be truthful. But then, it is what it is. Let's hope state policing is really going to solve a whole lot of problems in Nigeria when it comes to insecurity. Let's hope. Let's just hope.
Like you said, the decentralizing is going to be perfect. But I think before any decentralizing, let them first have a financially autonomous state legislature, financially autonomous state judiciary, so that the governors will not turn this police to something else. They could not become killer squads at the end of the day. Honestly, because some of them are very desperate to keep power. And since they are the one who pays the piper, will definitely dictate the tune of the piper. So, but if there are other bodies that are also, you know, one of the things about having multiple masters is you tend to not really have one to obey.
Yes, you'll
so
be confused.
You'll be confused on. But then at the end of the day, it gives you a bit of liberty. So to even do whatever you want to do and really focus on what is kind of important. So I think financially autonomous judiciary, financially autonomous legislature is more important. Or if that be the case, let the state police be a subsidiary of the federal police. So let the federal police be in charge of the state police too as well, so that they will oversee their activities and all that one way or the other.
I think one of the things I also picked from what our guest said was the fact whereby we as citizens need to also be our own police and we need to guide our units jealously, because when we all say yes, before a naysayer could get to us, it's going to take a whole lot of effort and strength. So if we have one voice and we are saying, okay, I need to guide my home, he needs to guide his home, you need to guide your home, I think any external force that will be coming, probably maybe a spiritual one.
Even spiritual ones, actually, you still need unit guidance.
Yeah.
Because even the spirit too works by units too. So
I think overall, let me say the overall thing we need is unity.
Yeah, unity.
The overall thing we need is unity, because when you see anyone who wants to go and scatter anywhere, so far there is no unity there. It will be so easy for the person to penetrate. But when there is unity, before you can get in, it's going to take an extra effort.
Yeah, extra effort. Well, we'll keep saying things, we'll keep saying how things progress actually on Daybreak Africa, and we'll keep bringing information on all things are progressing. But till then, my name is still Ikhonede Joshua DG.
And hi, I'm Afolashayo Hamzat. Bye.
Bye, guys.